What's up, everybody, and welcome to our first Friday playoff edition of Morning Cup of Hockey presented by Bet365. That's Colby Cohen. I'm Johnny Lazarus, and we have friend of the show, Pat Maroon, joining anytime here in the next couple minutes to talk about St. Louis and Tampa last night and what might surprise us, what might not be so surprising with the Blues winning Game 3 on home ice last night and making that a series. Then we'll also speak to Gary Lawless, who covers the Vegas Golden Knights out in Minnesota after their loss last night. And I think I speak for most people when I say that I owe the Minnesota Wild an apology. Maybe not most people, but that's definitely me for sure. But a lot of things happened last night. The Leafs in OT again, back-to-back games, hit the bet. So Tommy T, you can suck it. And Colby, what are your thoughts this morning? How you doing?
Did we pick? I think we picked we both agree that St. Louis would be the 1-0-2 team that won last night, right?
I think they were our favorite. Yeah,
they were the team we thought had the best opportunity to go home and win a game.
Yeah.
Although we both
like
thought,
the Leafs.
Well, and we both liked the Leafs. We both thought Vegas would win.
We both thought Tampa would win too.
I thought Tampa would win.
Yeah.
I will say this. I hope Tampa gets swept now. That hit last night that Brandon Hagel laid on Barkov, it struck such a nerve with me, and it was such a dirty, cheap shot that I hope Florida sweeps the series. I also will say I feel pretty dumb because 2 years in a row I took into account the way Florida played down the stretch, and then I completely discounted them as the team I thought would win the Stanley Cup. But I got to tell you, like, that is as dirty of a hit as you see in the NHL. It is, like, to me, headshots are sometimes just part of contact. Like, guys are not looking for a headshot.
Are you calling that a headshot?
No,
yeah,
not at all.
I'm
not calling it a headshot. Yeah. What I was going to say is it's always funny to me that people that see the headshots and they throw their arms up in the air and they're like, oh my God. And then we come on the show and we're like, well, there was a lot of contact. That's probably why his feet came up off the ground. It was two big human beings running into each other. Like, there's reasons for all that. That play last night, the blindside hit, it just bothers me so much more than anything else. And, you know, I see it. Somebody in the chat, John Harm, says shoulder on shoulder. If Barkov had the puck, this wouldn't be an issue.
Well, he didn't have the puck.
If Barkov had the puck, he never touched the puck.
Yeah,
he didn't have possession of the puck. And that's why it's a massive problem when you never touch the puck. Your guard is not up in that situation. You're just turning basically to start heading towards the strong side of the ice where the puck was going. And you know, Vic, I don't know if you want to roll the hit. I see we have some comments in the chat. I mean, Barkov never touches that puck. And to me, that is just completely blindside. It's completely dirty. He's forechecking McDonough. McDonough keeps the puck moving. I don't know. And, you know, I see you in the chat today, TJ Brennan, and I'm just wondering if you're that TJ Brennan, you know, the Philly, South Jersey hockey player that I know, but, you know, or maybe it's somebody else, but, I just honestly, that hit, you know, I think it's suspendable. I think he should miss a game for that hit. And I could say that unfortunately we don't have an eye for an eye rule book, but he shouldn't play again until Barkov does.
Well, yeah. So that's what I wanted to say because that's the biggest thing for me is that Hagel knew exactly who he was hitting.
Wait, right? Randy, what do you mean when you say it was interference, not a major? Yeah, it was. It was a 5-minute major. Well,
they called it a 5.
They called it a 5. There's no such thing as a 5-minute penalty that's not a major.
I also think they called it a 5 originally just so they could review it.
That's what they do now, which is smart.
Yeah. But again, I think the biggest problem for me, Colby, with the hit is that Hagel knew it was Barkov. He had a chance. He was licking his chops to light up Florida's best player, and he did it. And now the fact that Barkov is potential, we don't know his status.
Well, he didn't play again after that.
No, he didn't come back. I know.
He didn't come back.
We don't know his status.
In a 1-0 game, he didn't come back.
That is a series altering hit right there. And listen, I think the fact that Hagel wasn't thrown out of the game, are the refs keeping Hagel in so he doesn't get off like scot-free? If that makes sense, like now Florida can go after him?
I'm not sure. So I know we have the rule where you can give an interference major, a 5-minute interference major. I'm not sure. And maybe Vic can get into the rule book here behind the scenes and look and see if that can carry an in-game, like a disqualification or not. But I gotta say, like, I hope player safety looks at this and I hope they come down on Brandon Hagel. And listen, I love Hagel as a player. That guy competes his fucking ass off.
Yeah.
He plays hard, honest hockey. But man, that was just so dirty to me. And I know Pat's here, so we should bring Pat in and we should get his opinion on this. But I honestly, like, I went from being all in on Tampa to that hit. It just struck such a nerve for me. And like, I hope Florida sweeps him out of the series at this point, because that hit just bothered me so much. Like, sometimes hits from behind or are just things are happening so fast out there. Sometimes high contact it's unavoidable. It's unintentional. Like, to me, like, you're trying to injure a guy on that play. And I know that's part of playoffs. Like, I get that, but that hit really bothered me. So why don't you read Pat in and let's make him a part of this conversation.
Yeah, so before we bring Pat on, just want to give a quick word from our sponsor, Proraso, the most complete choice for shaving and beard care, made in Italy since 1948. Proraso has been a staple of Italian culture and barbershops globally for 4 generations. So get 15% off at Proraso-USA.com with our promo code Hockey15 in all caps, Hockey15. And Pat, whenever you get on here in a second, if you are here, as we load you in, Pat, we got to ask you, right? You've been in this battle of Florida. I'm assuming you saw that hit last night between Hagel and Barkov. And actually, you know what? First, congratulations on the newborn. I'm so sorry. Congrats.
All right, Johnny.
Yeah.
Have you you never sent him a text and congratulated him?
I did. Of course I did.
Okay. So now you're just doing it for the cameras?
Doing it for the cameras because I don't want to get yelled at that I'm not courteous.
I always forget how much of a fraud you are.
Yeah. But Pat, your thoughts on that hit, because it's going to be a huge topic of conversation today. And, Colby and I both agree that it was definitely a dirty hit, but I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the game happened so fast. I see why, he chips it in behind McDonough, and I think he goes to sweep the puck, and the puck is already past, Vlas. So I think it was obviously a very late hit, but I can see why Hagel thought, you can see him swing his stick. He obviously missed it. The puck was nowhere near him by that point of contact when Hagel hit Barkov. So it's, listen, it's not a clean hit, but I can see why they only called it a 5-minute interference. They didn't call it a match or a game, right? So, like, I don't think he gets suspended for that because the puck.
I don't either.
I think the puck is in the area of where he was going. Unfortunately, the puck got swept off the boards back the other way before. I think if he gets control of that puck, it's a clean hit. And I think
that's a big if, though. Like, if he gets control of the puck,
100%. But I think
then it's no penalty because it's a shoulder-to-shoulder hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shoulder-to-shoulder hit. He's obviously not looking to see to his left if Hagel's coming, right? They're looking to get the puck, and unfortunately, it gets passed. And, he got hit, but I don't think it's a dirty hit. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's a playoff hockey. I think Colby's already said that. Like, it is playoff hockey, and, we can go back to the Bennett thing in Boston. Is that dirty or is not dirty? He didn't get
that was dirty. Yeah, that
So
was dirty as shit.
listen, this shit's gonna happen in the playoffs. So,
Are you
By
still
the
pissed
way,
about that?
Pat, I don't think he's gonna get suspended. So but I would like to see him lose a game for that hit, because if Barkov can't play, it just, I don't know, for whatever reason, Pat, that hit, like the blindside hits strike such a nerve with me, like even more than the behind, like the hits from behind. Sometimes like a guy turns, or like you sometimes like you can't pull up, like for whatever reason, this hit just like got so deep under my skin. And I don't think Brandon Hagel is a dirty player by any means.
No.
I don't know if you heard us talking about this before you came on. Like, that guy's a hard-nosed, honest player. Like, but for whatever reason, that hit was just, I don't agree with you. Like, I do think that it was I think he was like, you know what? I'm going to get my lick in here and hurt this guy. And again, I don't really have a problem with that but the blindside part of it, and I'm trying to look up the rule as we're all talking here,
Yeah.
blindside hits in the NHL. I don't know. This really
I think you're fired
me.
up because it's Barkov. It's their best player, their most important player, their captain. Like I think that's why it's an even bigger deal than it is to begin with, just because of who the hit was on.
what did Maurice say last night about the hit? Did you guys watch his press interview?
No, I didn't see anything.
I don't know. Like, I know Coop was mad if you were looking at the bench, because he kept saying he was trying to swing for the puck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I mean, it can go both ways.
It's
a pretty what?
To me, it looked more like Barkov was like sort of forechecking. Like, I don't think Barkov
He never had the puck.
Ever has an opportunity to like actually play it. Like, to me, he swings his stick while McDonough's making that little play where he keeps it moving. To me, he's really just a forechecker there. And that's why, like, again, maybe from the backside for Hagel, it looked different. But with the angles that we had on TV, like, he literally looks like a forechecker to me. And then you just blast a guy who's on the forecheck. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I just,
What if he makes contact with the puck though? Like, what if he legit makes contact with the puck?
But Pat,
that's
one Mississippi, two Mississippi hit.
Yeah, no, I agree. If he makes contact with the puck, but he doesn't.
He doesn't.
That's a big hit. Like, that's like.
I'm not sticking up for Tampa. I'm just saying, I don't know. Like, I thought if that was the case, if they're going to give him a 5, might as well send him home.
That's what I thought. I thought it was crazy that they
at
kept
that
him in
point.
The
so to me, they maybe thought it wasn't that bad of a hit.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
And like they're reviewing that, and also Toronto up top is reviewing that.
Yeah,
Toronto makes the call on that. That's
what I mean. So I don't know. Like, it just sucks because you lose your, like Johnny said, you lose your best, 200-foot player.
Yeah,
that's an all-around player that is obviously his game is not really that, but
so Pat, I want to get your a story from you, honestly, because I feel like you already said it, but you can kind of relate this to when you guys lost Marchand last year. When Bennett throws that cheap shot on Marchand, like, take us in that Boston room, like after that game versus what Florida might be feeling right now, losing their captain to what is considered a cheap shot.
Well, the difference between that, no one saw what Bennett did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just saw Marshy go down and then him trying to get up and get back to the bench. And we saw it after the period of like what really happened. So we just couldn't believe it that no one called it and no one even saw that. And I think the worst part was like TNT got that first. So they were showing it next game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the other reverse angle, right?
The other reverse angle
behind the bench.
Or maybe during the game, or they found it, and the NHL still did nothing about it. Like, so I mean, listen, I think it's playoff hockey. It sucks that you lose one of your best players, or a guy that power play PKs. He's an elite player, and that's what's hard for. That was hard for us because, like, Bennett's not going to go fight me or Bennett, you know what I mean? Like, someone else had to go, like, challenge him. But at the end of the day, we still had to play hockey, and we can't do nothing stupid to, like, retaliate and try to get them on the board. because we're trying to win a hockey series. So it can go both ways. So, I mean, it's frustrating in that room for sure, but at the end of the day, it's playoff hockey, and this is the shit that happens. And if it's regular season, I'm sure they're both suspended.
Well,
and that's how I see it. Like, I think playoff hockey, there's a little more leeway with a little more shit that goes on. So
and there should be.
Well, so that's what I was gonna add to that, Pat. Like, if you're in the Florida locker room right now, like everyone will, like, we're gonna talk like eye for an eye, right? Like Florida now, the narrative is gonna be someone's gonna go after Hagel in the next game if he's not suspended. Like, is that actually a conversation or distraction in the Florida locker room, or it's just go out and play hockey? And if you see 38 on the ice, try to line them up, but don't do anything stupid.
Well, I mean, Tkachuk and Hagel are gonna fight for sure. I mean, that's coming next game for sure. I'd bet money on that. Oh yeah, I'd bet money on that. What do you think, Pat?
You think Hagel?
Yeah, I mean, I listen. I think they take liberties at their best players too. Like,
yeah, Kucherov,
Kuch, Point, Hedman, obviously Hagel, Cirelli, these guys that are, you know, and that's unfortunately that's part of the game. And you kind of look forward to this game now. Next game, you're gonna be out of your fucking seat and watching two Florida teams that are just going to beat the shit out of each other because of what just happened, right?
It's a total tea kettle right now that's about to boil over. I mean, there's
like, even in the first game, did you see Bennett bury Point?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like they're just, you know, like,
he went into the boards hard.
That looked like it hurt
hard
for sure. But that's the beauty of these playoffs, like the shit that stems over for next game and the next game, and you know, and I'm sure Paul Maurice is in the room. Hey, don't do anything stupid. If there's an opportunity to clean hit someone, take an opportunity and do it.
Yeah.
Stick up for your teammates at all costs, but don't go out there and try to take a liberty and get us on the PK and then they're fucking scoring, right? So I think there's two things you got to worry about, right? So, but maybe the fight happens, right? Maybe Tkachuk and it's like Pasta and Tkachuk last year they fought, right? So
I want to read this comment though, Pat, in our chat, because like you can obviously help just describe what goes through a player's mind. MYR Marine, loyal, you know, chat contributor, friend of the show, said, I don't understand the idea of someone committing a heinous dirty play and the response is an honorable mutual fight. Hagel wasn't honorable with that hit. He goes low, you go low in response. What do you think about that?
Can you pull it up again?
Yeah.
I got to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Johnny, why don't you read it out loud again?
So what MYR Marine is saying, like, Hagel just knows to drop the gloves and have a mutual fight next game over, like, you know, trying to skate around, avoiding a dirty hit that might be coming his way.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I think it's a long playoff series. Like, I don't think, like, even if he drops the gloves, like, obviously everyone knows why he's dropping the gloves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can get every chance you can to hit, but I don't know. I mean, if for me, if they fight, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
If they let it go and they keep hitting them, that's better, I think, for the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. He has to, but he would have honored it right then and there if that would have been the case. Like, anyone sees that hit, but to me, it seemed like everyone knew that was a clean hit, so no one really honored to fight him in that moment. So now it's kind of past and over now. Obviously, you're still thinking about it, but now it's just like, okay, now we got to focus on playing hockey now. It's a 1-0 game.
So let's talk a little bit about the game, Pat, and let's talk a little bit about from Tampa's point of view here, because, you know, where do they go from here? Because I'll be honest, like, a guy who always rises to the occasion in playoffs in Point and in Kucherov. I mean, these guys have been playoff assassins for so long. Like, they've just kind of been neutralized. Like, I just don't see them getting inside the dots, and you just don't see, like, I don't think people realize even how physical Kucherov usually plays, especially come playoff time. I mean, he's usually a motherfucker out there. These guys just seem, I don't know if it's hesitant is the right word. They seem a little, like, I don't want to use the word passengers because these guys are never passengers, but it just looks a little perimeter for them. And, you know, for them to get shut out in game 2 like that on home ice, where do they go from here? Because to me, they're in big trouble against Florida right now.
Yeah, it seems that way too, and I think injuries are kind of starting to creep in. I know, and that kind of hurts. It seems like guys are a little banged up, but I agree with you. I think Florida's done a really good job though in the neutral zone, honestly, of just clogging it up. And I always tell people this: the ice shrinks in the playoffs. There's not a lot of time and space, especially for the top guys, especially if Florida has their matchups against, the Kuchen point line and the Gensel line. Which seems to me they just can't find a way to get their offense off the rush. Usually, when Cooch gets in and he turns up, or Point gets in and turns up, hits the second wave. So it just seems really to me that it's been really hard for them to go through the neutral zone. And what's another thing I noticed last night too is Florida's been breaking out the puck quite a bit, pretty good. And that's hard. So, like, if you're not getting puck stalled to an area where you can't get on the forecheck or get, have a second quick and get on there and get that puck loose and start your, transition and offense in the O-zone, it's going to be tough. So I seem like Florida's been doing a really good job of breaking out the puck. So they got to find something, to break that up and sustain more O-zone time, right? And it seems like they're chucking pucks. They're throwing hope plays instead of just controlling the puck a little bit more. And but I think they'll find it. They're down 2-0. They're going to Florida. It's obviously going to be a hard place to win. But for me, I think if those two guys get going, they'll be fine. And I think Vasilevsky really hasn't. Besides last game, he hasn't been his best. So I think.
Well, game one was.
Yeah.
I think yesterday's obviously 1-0 with an empty netter, but
I didn't love the goal though. Like I don't know what happened there. He really didn't. He just
It looked like it was straight in, right? No screen.
Track that puck well at all. Like you could see on the replay, like he was just so late to react, which is so uncharacteristic of him. And then I do want to address Sharma in the chat, who.
Yeah,
Sharma,
that's the craziest comment I've ever seen.
I gotta tell you, buddy, you're drinking a little too much Kool-Aid in Toronto right now, because to say that Tampa is soft and that they don't have the grit, like I'm sorry, but like tell me who doesn't have grit on Tampa's roster, because I mean, like I can go up and down their forward group. I mean, and I can't find a forward that doesn't have sandpaper and grit. And then on their back end, I mean, like Perbix maybe, but like Mosier maybe, but like I mean 97% of the players on Tampa have grit. So I would ease off that comment, because I think you're falling in love with the other blue team that's up 3-0 to Ottawa right now a little bit too much with those comments. So
keep smoking the ganja, buddy.
That's I mean, like but let me bring a point up to you, Pat, in something that I do believe the back end is missing right now. And it's funny because I texted Shaddy during the game last night, and I said, Tampa made a mistake not having you there this season. And the reason is you look at the end of the game, okay? The net is empty, and Ryan McDonough's on the ice with Victor Hedman. And listen, I mean, I'm as big a Ryan McDonough fan as you can be, but like, he's not a pure offensive defenseman. He's like the best two-way defender probably. And then they had Chernak out on the ice in the dying seconds with the net pulled. Like, they don't have that offensive option after Hedman on their back end right now. And like, I look at that point of the game and I'm like, geez, like they really could have used Shaddy on their third pair over Lillberg or Perbix to bring a little bit more offense to a game like that. And on top of it, Lillberg and Perbix are having a very difficult time against this Florida forecheck. Like, they've kind of been liabilities through the first two games. And I just think they have some defensive depth issues. And I don't know if you see it that way with the way that they're built, but I'm a little surprised by it.
No, I mean, you nailed it. I think they're top four pairing, but I mean, look at who they got rid of. Sergachev, Shaddy, Bogosian. players that really they can really use right now, right? And when you talk about like the deep pair and you got McDonough and Cernak, they're more of a shutdown line, so they're never out there really. And I'm best friends with Mac, and
he's the best. I'm putting him on any team I'm ever building, Ryan McDonough, but I'm not putting them out there when the goalie's cold.
And he even knows that too, right? So I think usually it's Radish out there, but I don't know. He didn't play last night, right?
No.
And that's the thing though. Like it's usually him or Hetty and 5 forwards, but they didn't have 5 forwards. So I think the problem is they're missing that right hand shot where Stammer was. That's a huge miss for them, and I think they know that. And they know that even though their power play was clicking at whatever it was, 24% this year. I mean, they were still the top of the league, but during playoffs, it gets harder and harder. And when you play, hi Goldie. Okay. And so it's hard that for me, they played Florida so many times in the playoffs these last 5 years. So like they're gonna just take Cooch away. So they're just even 6-on-5. Like they're just gonna find ways to just stick on them, and then they find their next plays, and it's usually pointer or back up to the point, but it's usually pointer or back down. So they've done a good job of that. So, but like you said, it's tough. Okay, I think it's tough for them because, like you said, Colby, when you have Cernak out there, I mean, with 35 seconds left, and I love Cernak, but like, you need another top guy out there to really help them and push that 6-on-5 to, search for a goal there.
Hey, Goldie.
Say hi.
Pat's daughter. For those of you that are audio only, Pat's daughter Goldie has made her weekly appearance on Morning Cup of Hockey. Pat, look, we're very grateful for your time this morning and for weighing in on this stuff. Nobody knows it better. We hope so far retirement's treating you well. We're still waiting to see when we're gonna see you pop up on one of our TV screens somewhere.
I know.
We're all waiting for that. So hopefully hopefully that's gonna be soon.
Yeah, I mean it will. It'll be soon. And then you guys can chirp me on here, Johnny.
Yep, that's the plan.
I'll defend
but then
you.
I'm
Don't
just
worry.
gonna chirp you back, Johnny.
I welcome that. You don't know that by now?
Yeah,
I'll defend you. Don't worry, Patty. All right, man. Listen, have a great day with your family, okay, bud?
Okay, I'll text you guys later.
All right,
later, Pat. Awesome stuff. Obviously, we wanted to get into the Blues too, with Pat as well. But listen, there's so many things to talk about this morning. I mean, Leafs Sens. Do you want to pull up that Darren Drager tweet that we just saw? Yeah, I think we go Leafs Sens before.
You just throw that tweet up there because nobody
There's no context to it.
I don't think anybody has any idea what Drager is talking about, but obviously something. And as Vic is working to get it up onto the screen, I'll just read it out for all of you to hear. And Darren Drager tweeted 9:04 a.m. A twist in the Battle of Ontario with allegations of pregame shenanigans last night. Sources say the NHL is looking into an incident in warmups prior to the game 3 between the Leafs and the Senators. Undetermined whether league discipline will follow. So, who knows?
Does that even mean I wouldn't even think of that as on ice? I would think of that as off ice warmup.
I have no idea. Let's not speculate. And let's just talk a little bit about that game. The other thing I wanted to just quickly say, again, the game-winning goal last night in the Florida-Tampa Bay series was off a face-off. The game-winning goal in the Toronto-Ottawa series was off a face-off. Face-offs this year have, in my opinion, come more into play in big moments that are more visible to, the everyday audience than in years prior, whether it's offensive or defensive zone, because even, Parayko gets one off of a face-off last night. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but let's see. There was a goal in the Vegas game. The Boldy goal was off of a defensive zone face-off win.
That's a forecheck. I mean, that's a forecheck.
Yeah, I get it, but you're talking about they win a face-off, they come up the ice, they soft chipped and they forechecked, and then they created a turnover. So the possession off of face-offs has been huge. So anyways, what did you think of that Toronto-Ottawa game? What stood out to you?
A couple of thoughts. First, MY Marine, we just dropped that tweet in so people can like be aware that clearly something is going on there. Sort of like look out for whatever that story might be, because that's going to be obviously something that's a big talking point. But I also saw a lot of comments in the chat too. We were talking about the Hagel hit on Barkov. People had a problem with the Clevin hit on Lawrence. I thought that was a fucking unbelievable reverse hit. I don't know if you saw it, Colby. Clevin is almost like skating backwards behind the net to retrieve a puck and then feels Lawrence coming on his back and leans into him from behind. Vic, you're on fire. Here we go. Watch Clevin lean into that hit right there. That's a perfect reverse hit. What's he supposed to do? Just let Lawrence smoke him? No.
Well, no, I think he's protecting himself, and then his momentum just takes
perfect
him in.
Reverse hit.
It's a great collision, you know.
People in our chat are like, it's interference. No, it's not.
What's interference? By who? Interference? By who's the interference on Clevin?
That's what they're saying. That's a perfect reverse hit. I love that hit, actually. Big fan of that hit.
It's completely clean.
But there's no such thing as a reverse hit. It's called it. Alex and Kingston, you are so wrong. Peter Forsberg, Cale Makar, all these guys have perfected the reverse hit. It is a beautiful art that is in hockey. It's not.
Well, but I can tell you the league has been looking at the reverse hit, by the way. I mean, this has been on the docket, no doubt. It is something that the general managers and the rules competition committees have been looking at. But like in that regard, Vic, pull the video up again. You know, Clevin is going back on a puck there. Right. Well, he's going back on a puck right now. He has it. He moves it. And, you know, Lawrence is coming into forecheck and hit him. Well, what's Clevin supposed to do? Turn and just get run over? I mean, again, calling that interference is, I mean,
that's insane.
Listen, that's quite a way to look at that. How about this though, right? The first half of that game, Toronto kind of sleptwalked. They really did for the first half of the game. And
any thoughts on Stolars?
Stolars makes a save, a 10-beller at the 8:50 mark of the first period on Stützle. Like an absolute 10-bell save in the slot. And then he makes that breakaway save when it's 1-0 Ottawa in the second period to keep it at 1-0. Okay. If that game gets to 2, and it's really funny. I was texting with a buddy of mine who was at the game, who's a Sens person. And I literally said, they have to get this to 2. If they don't get this to 2-0, forget it. The Leafs are going to get to their game in the second half and they're going to win this hockey game. And that's what they did. And so, you know, again, all Anthony Stolars has done since I kind of got on him in game 1 is just shove it right back in my face and be in my opinion, the Leafs' best player. Like, I think Stolars has been great. Do I like the goal that Tkachuk scored on him? No, I didn't like that goal, but the saves that he made in the critical points of that hockey game, I think he's your best player right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think that's totally fine. Like, I'm not chirping the Maple Leafs because what do the Maple Leafs do? They make plays when they need to make plays, and they just continue to win hockey games in the playoffs.
I think Matthew Knies has been pretty damn good too. I mean, that guy to me is like a perfect hockey player. Colby, I don't know if this is a crazy thing to say. Would you consider Matthew Knies for the Team USA for the Olympics next year?
I mean, listen, he's got to be in the mix. I don't see how he wouldn't be in the mix for the Olympics. I mean, if you're putting a 40 man camp together or a 35, I mean, he's got to be in the mix. There's no doubt about that.
I think he got credited with the overtime goal, by the way. I know they gave it to Benoit initially, but I'm pretty sure they changed it and credited Matthew Knies with the overtime winner. Not sure if you caught that or not.
I mean, I think they credit him with it initially. Let's see where it stands as of now. It stands as Benoit. So
it is Benoit now. They switched it back.
It is Benoit off of a face-off win by Matthews, who's been really good in the dot in this series, no doubt about that. Look, you know, I look at this series and I think Toronto's taking care of business, man. I mean, Matthews gets a goal. I mean, what a pass by Marner on that goal. I mean, he knows what he's doing in advance there. Like, that puck, for him to pull that puck off the yellow and basically just redirects it, he uses the spin of the puck here, right? The puck rolls around the kick plate. You've got that counterclockwise spin, and he literally just lets the spin continue to move, and Ullmark never has an opportunity. I mean, that is a big time play by Marner. Big time play. And look, Marner's been pretty good in this series. Like, I like the way he's played. He's been engaged. He's been good on the penalty kill. You know, I mean, that is just highly, highly skilled. And, you know, I'm not sure that's a set play, Sharma. I just think that's a guy who realizes, you know, he's 2 steps ahead and sees who's open. He takes a look, and he just, again, he lets the spin of the puck do the work on that, as that puck is coming this way on that little yellow kick plate, and he just literally keeps it going with the spin as a right shot there, and that was big time.
What do you think's been the most disappointing thing about Ottawa so far?
Their inability to score, because I think it, you know, they've had plenty of opportunities to stretch out some leads. You know, I think that they, like I said, I didn't like how Toronto played in the first period and then some. And then again, the second part of the game, Toronto got to their forecheck and they started playing direct. I mean, even on the nice power play goal, like, how direct, right? Seam pass, one touch pass, shot, puck recovery, goal. You know what I mean? Like, that's the sequence of the power play goal for Nyes, and you love that. Yeah, I just think their details in Toronto have been better, and you know, but Ottawa can't score. I mean, and I guess that credit Anthony Stolarz on that, but Ottawa's had plenty of good opportunities, and they just haven't been able to bury. And then I think, like, I've been disappointed in Pinto. I've been disappointed in Batherson. I don't think any of these guys have risen to the level that you need to if you want to win a playoff series.
I will say too, though, like, the crowd there, unbelievable. Before the game, you're seeing videos, the crowd pop on the Giroux goal, Brady Tkachuk on the tying goal.
I mean, is the crowd not really good anywhere in playoffs?
Like,
well, where
no, but
hasn't
I mean, like,
the crowd been really good?
It's been a while since we've seen it in Ottawa, and you know, it just looks like one of those cooler playoff Canadian atmospheres that you don't get every year, so you kind of forget what it's like there. You know, I mean, it was loud as hell when Giroux scored that first goal. Like, that was a pretty cool environment to see. But also, like Vic said before, he was actually
well,
surprised.
wait till you see what Montreal looks like tonight.
Oh, I know. That's gonna be really cool. That's gonna be cool. But Vic said before the show started, like, he was surprised that Leafs fans didn't travel that well to Ottawa. But even on the OT goal, like, you heard that pop. Like, it was go, Sens, go, to then, like, silence for a second, and then, like, Leafs fans just exploding, which was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about that game. Leafs up 3-0. You know, I think I had them in 6. I'm pretty sure you had them in 6 as well.
5 or 6, I think.
5 or 6?
I said 5. I thought I said 5.
Maybe 5, yeah. But listen, Ottawa's not getting back in this series. There's no way.
Yeah, I didn't think they were getting back in it anyway. But yeah, no, I think this is a 4 or 5 game series at this point. Like, I don't see.
I say it's a sweep. I
don't see any reason why Ottawa's going to come out and win. I really don't. So
no.
All right, let's talk St. Louis and Winnipeg, because I know you're dying for this. You know, because
the first 5 minutes of that game,
you're all set now with St. Louis, even though they're still down 2-1. But you're all set now.
I feel incredible about them. The first 5 minutes of that game, they looked like Florida. They were smothering Winnipeg. Winnipeg couldn't even. You talk about Winnipeg breaking the puck out all the time, like that's your thing with Winnipeg.
They couldn't. Their forecheck, St. Louis forecheck was just so good last night. Look, the most glaring thing to me about this game last night, St. Louis skated. Winnipeg did not.
They were all over them.
Winnipeg looked like they were in quicksand, and the Blues looked like they had 6 skaters on the ice and a goaltender. You know, I mean, they just looked like they had more guys on the ice. That's how fiercely they forechecked. And I mean, that first goal by Buchnevich, that was
sick.
Out of midair. I mean, that was unbelievable. And then
Fowler's goal too, starting from behind the net, beating everybody up the ice, beats IFL.
Fowler had 5 points last night. 5 points. And let me read you this.
Yeah.
With Fowler, I wrote this down too. 36 points in 51 games and a plus 19 in 21 minutes and 42 seconds of ice time on average. Cam Fowler, for the St. Louis Blues since he came. I made a comment a couple of days ago on this show, and people came into the comment section of our YouTube page from Edmonton talking about how bad of a take it continues to be. You're wrong, because I got to tell you, the Edmonton Oilers not going after Cam Fowler is one of the biggest mistakes that they made this season, because that guy is a total difference maker for his team. I mean, this might, and I see it in the chat from Migration Coconut says, this was the most underrated trade of the season. Fowler for a depth prospect and a second rounder. Cam Fowler looks 25 years old again.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy looks like
his goal was
far that we all forgot about while he was out, playing in Orange County. So, look, Gary Lawless is here, who's a first-time guest of our show. And we're gonna switch gears and talk a little bit about Vegas. When we're done, we'll come back to the St. Louis Winnipeg series, because I don't think we got into some of the points of that game that we wanted to. But Johnny, I'll let you read Gary into the show. And I mean, the biggest question is going to be, what the hell is going on in Vegas, especially with the top players who just seemingly seem like they're getting outplayed right now.
Yeah, so before we bring Gary Lawless on, just want to give a quick word from a new sponsor, actually, and it's Budweiser. Budweiser is encouraging buds to make time for playoffs, not excuses. Every goal, every check, every win is better enjoyed with your buds. So phone a bud, text a bud, ping a bud, and call out their excuses for bailing on the playoffs. After all, the playoffs are the most wonderful time of the year, so make them count. When it's springtime, it's go time. Let's bring in a new friend of the show, Gary Lawless, who is waking up very early for us after that game last night. Gary, we appreciate it. And I know it didn't go your guys' way. So how you feeling this morning?
Feel great. It's another new day. Series is 2-1. No, I don't think anyone really expected this to be a sweep. I don't think anyone expected Vegas to lose 2 in a row the way they have either. And Colby's right. On the surface, it looks like obviously Minnesota's top guns are filling the net, and Mark Stone and Jack Eichel have yet to register points so far in the series. So that's unexpected for sure. Every bounce going Minnesota's way right now, but I'm a firm believer in you make your own luck. I think it's the third goal where one linesman signals icing, the other waves it off. Inexplicably, it's a blown call, but you got to play, right? Hanifin, unfortunately, he goes to pitchfork it back to Pietrangelo, doesn't go, and Matt Boldy is super opportunistic. And just on Boldy for a second, he reminds me of Blake Wheeler a lot. When Blake Wheeler went to Sochi in 2014, he was having a pretty good season. He went there and played against the best in the world and went, oh, okay, I'm one of the best in the world too. I'm as good as all these guys. Came back and then went on like a 5-year tear where he was, one of the best players in the National Hockey League. And right now Boldy got the same bounce from the Four Nations. He went there and thought, okay, I'm a good young player. No, I'm one of the best players in the world. And that's what you're getting from him right now.
We've been saying that since he came back. He got that Four Nations bump. Some players came back injured. Obviously you dealt with that with Shea Theodore out there in the desert, but Boldy has taken a different turn on that. But speaking of Shea Theodore, who is easily one of my favorite players to watch in the sport of hockey, because that guy is worth buying a ticket because of just how much he can control a hockey game with his puck skills and his feet. He's fighting the puck, these last couple of games. And I'm just curious, have you seen him go through stretches and work through this at all this season? Is this completely shocking to you? Like it is kind of shocking to me, or maybe I'm not watching it in as good a detail as you are with what I'm seeing.
Well, he's been one of the, statistically, what he's done the last 3 years, especially as a pair with Braden McNabb. They're 1 and 2 in the NHL in a whole bunch of stats. They've been just one of the best pairings in the NHL, regular season and playoffs. They've been dominant. So they're going through a rough patch for sure. And we haven't seen this type of, they were a lot better in game 3 than they were in game 2. And, you hope that if you're from a Vegas perspective, you hope there's more to come because they can't tread water. They have to do more than that. You need, Shea's a huge part of what Vegas has accomplished here. So he's, they need him to find his game and be Shea Theodore. That hasn't happened yet in the series the way you'd like it to be. So, is this a funk? Maybe. We haven't seen that from Shea. He's bounced back from things. He's just such a good skater. Everything comes from there, and it's kind of weird. Every bounce is going Minnesota's way, and again, that's you get that when you do good things, you make your own luck, and nothing is going Vegas's way. It's you could leave the rink last night disheartened and think, well, they're down 2-1, or like, this can't go on forever, can it? And that's why the series is 7 games, and that's why Vegas is up 2-0 against Dallas last year, lost the series in game 7. Winnipeg absolutely dominates St. Louis up in Winnipeg, and then just got hammered last night. Things go back and forth in a series, or they don't, or a series is over fast, and we'll find out a lot in game 4.
Well, Gary, that's what I wanted to bring up too, especially about that Boldy goal. I don't know if you saw Mike Kelly's stat last night, but Boldy's goal last night was the 6th goal of the series where Vegas turned the puck over and it was in the back of their net within 10 seconds. They were the 4th. They had the 4th fewest of that stat in the regular season. And I'm just curious if that's more of a credit to what Minnesota's doing, or if it's just Vegas kind of shooting themselves in the foot. It sounds like, you're saying they're not getting the bounces, but is Vegas almost beating themselves right now? Or is
it's somewhere in the middle? It's somewhere in the middle. You got to give Minnesota credit. And just on the, we kind of forget when Kaprizov and Eriksson got hurt, they were like right there with Winnipeg as one of the best teams in the NHL.
Yeah.
So then, they're not that good in the second half of the season. Well, everybody comes back and they are, right back where they were in the middle of the season. So I think that's caught everybody off guard a little bit, because usually a guy comes back from injury, he's not quite himself for a little bit. Those two have come back and been incredible, and their blue line for the first time in a long time is all together. And think about it. The Vegas blue line is considered to be one of the very best in the NHL.
Yeah.
Well, you have to really like what the Wild's back end has done so far in this series. And, Spurgeon, Brodin, really good players that missed a lot of hockey this year. But they got a pairing of a guy who's played 3 games, Zev Buyam, and Zach Bogosian, who the Buffalo Sabres wrote off for dead 5 years ago. He's just won a Stanley Cup and signed a couple of contracts since then. So I have to give Minnesota credit. They've been John Hines has put together a really good game plan.
2 really good coaches, no doubt.
They've been structured. They've been really disciplined to that game plan. They got it. They took some penalties last night, which is also kind of an interesting trend in the series, because Vegas had 4 power plays last night, didn't score, but they hadn't had any power plays. They didn't get a power play in game 2, and first half of that game 3, nothing going. They didn't get on the power play. Then they got on it and they weren't able to cash, but they got a couple of looks that, Stone to Hurdle that went in all season long, doesn't go in this time. Vegas needs something to go their way, and maybe Minnesota isn't going to let that happen.
No.
Right.
That's at the end of the series. We're all looking at crystal balls right now, kind of going, is it Vegas struggling? Is it Minnesota? We'll find out completely at the end of the series. But I do think I have to give Minnesota credit. They've been super impressive.
So I think it's just you can't stop Kirill.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Well, I mean, listen, when you have McNabb, Theodore, Hanifin, Pietrangelo, I mean, and then like Zach Whitecloud is in your third pair. I mean, that's probably like one of the most premier third pairs you could ever have in the National Hockey League. Like, that is not a liability of a third pair. We do have a question from our chat, Gary, and I think it's an interesting one from Joe Albanese, who's with us almost every single morning. And he said,
hey, Joe.
And he said, what are the chances Bruce Cassidy gets fired if they don't win this series? Now, my personal opinion is you should not fire Bruce Cassidy. I think he's as good a coach as you could possibly have. But if they lose in the first round 2 years in a row, we've seen Vegas be pretty ruthless with their leashes that they've given people over the years, Gary. Like, do you think that's on the table?
I would say absolutely not. But
yeah, I agree.
I'm not Kelly McCrimmon. That would be his decision at the end of the day. But last year the reason they were injured up until they were still injured in the first round. They were not healthy last year, and they went 7 with Dallas and came real close to winning that 7th game. So you have to look at things. You could say they've lost 2 years in a row, but they haven't yet for sure. But if that was to unfold, you could say that, but you have to look a little deeper than that.
Yep.
And I don't think coaching is an issue. They just, another 50 win season, over 100 points. And Bruce wants to win in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Everybody does, but that wouldn't be an answer for me.
Right. Well, and just for the record, Gary, I don't believe there's another better coach out there. And I played for Bruce for a number of years in the American League, and I did not personally like him, but he is as good a hockey coach as I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I have no problem separating those two things. There is no better human being out there. Like, there might be coaches just as good as he is, maybe a few, but like, you won't find a better hockey coach, which, Joe, I think your question is fair because it's the Vegas Golden Knights, but
it's also the modern day NHL.
Cassidy did win a cup. Some of these other guys that got fired, they didn't win the cup, right? So I'm with Gary on this one, but you never know. And I did think it was an interesting question to propose.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if they lose 2 years, if they do lose 2 years in a row, the questions will be asked, and there will be change. Kelly McCrimmon isn't gonna stand pat. There'll be change if they win too. That's just that's life in the NHL. The cap's going up. They're gonna have opportunities to do things, and they will.
Gary, just my last question here, and again, we appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I think the question has to be asked, right? Like, what's going on with Jack Eichel? No points, 3 games. I know plus minus isn't the biggest stat these days, but -5. Colby and I were sitting here a week ago saying Jack Eichel could be in the MVP race. That's how good he was this year, right? And come playoff time, it's not like him. He's only been in 2 postseasons, granted, but it's not like him to be this quiet on the stat sheet. So is there anything going on with Jack that you can see up close, or any reason why he's not able to find the score sheet right now?
Well, I think you have to, again, I think Eriksson Ek is somebody that's no one is talking about. He's been, because he doesn't have any points. It's all Kaprizov and Boldy. He's doing some good things out there as well. I think that is a factor. Jack started to turn for him last night. He's been working hard the whole series. You can't question that.
No one's questioning that.
No, and he defends hard, and he plays 200 feet hard. I mean, he does other things.
But he hadn't made any plays. And then halfway through last night, he started holding the puck. He got some shots.
He had that breakaway in game 1 that Gustafsson stopped, but
but he started to look a lot more like Jack Eichel. Yeah, if that goes in, and if the pass he makes to Stone in game 1 goes in as well, or maybe game 2, then we're not talking about this. A lot of it is situational and bounce, but you have to go back to it again. You make your own bounces. I was enthused with what I saw from Jack in the second half of last night's game. Doesn't show up on the score sheet, but when you're watching the games as closely as we all are, when you see a player, it's a wet match. You're hitting that striker and nothing's happening. Sooner or later, something does happen. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, Gary. Look, I'm gonna hit you with one more question, and then we're gonna let you go. I'm gonna ask
just for the record. You can tell that Johnny doesn't have any kids. He thinks 8:45 is early.
I got two that are up at the crack of dawn, Gary. So I'm with you.
I've been up for 3 hours, Johnny.
And you're wearing a collared shirt.
This is to borrow a line from Chris Christopherson. This is my cleanest dirty shirt.
It's nice.
I pulled this off the floor from last night and put it on for you guys.
It's a nice one.
We appreciate it. So let me ask you to put your coaching hat on, Gary. And let me ask you for game 4, who's your starting goaltender?
Yeah, we talked about this on the radio last night from the moment that they put Akira Schmid in. I think if you're Bruce at that point in time, you want to give your team a little bit of a jolt, and you put Schmid in, not with at that time. I don't think he's decided, but he's like, okay, we'll put Schmid in. We'll see how it goes. Well, he goes in and he stops the puck. All right. He doesn't have as much work as Hill had, but nothing gets by him. So nothing that what you saw last night convinces you that you can't do it. In a post game last night, Bruce said, we have confidence in both guys. We wanted to give Schmidt some work. And then he said, we're going to practice tomorrow and with a 3:00 game on Saturday. Hilly, these are Bruce's words. Hilly would be the first to tell you that a practice is a good idea for him to get back on his on solid footing. That's pretty close to what he said. So I think that says to me he is going to play Adin Hill. Adin Hill is his guy. He also said, we have confidence in both guys. Hill is ahead of Schmid. Sure,
right.
He's Stanley Cup champion goalie.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, why not? Why wouldn't you play Schmid? You need a big change. The other part of me is Adin Hill has done some really impressive things for this organization. He's a big part of the dressing room. I think you have to go back to your guy. I think you have to play.
So Gary, I agree. And what I'll say to counter it, first I'll start with Vegas. Like I know Vegas went to Adin Hill on their cup run, right? Like Adin Hill was not the goalie that started in the playoffs.
Well, Brossoit got hurt. So
I know. I'm just saying, but like it's not like it's you need one guy to ride you the whole way, right?
No, yeah. Of course.
They know that firsthand. And then for me firsthand, I was very close to a series where Akira Schmid came in down 0-2 and stole the rest of that series. So I know that's not the biggest sample size, but he's done it before. That said, I still think it's going to be Hill. But Akira Schmid has shown that he can do it. So
we went. Dan Duva had basically had a chart last night with all of the saves and the moments for Schmid in that series, and in the next one when the Devils lost to Carolina. So listen, if Bruce was to play Schmid, I think he's probably got his mind made up that it's going to be Hill, but maybe he wanted to sleep on it. You never know. It wouldn't surprise me, and it wouldn't be. Listen, I think Edmonton's going to start Cal Pickard, right? It looked the way they handled things in LA, where he came in after a commercial break and not after a goal. That they made the decision. We need to give Cal some work because we need him. So maybe Bruce has made that decision too, and and isn't tipping his hand. But I think the way he said everything, it would be Hill.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's why playoffs are so fun.
Huh?
This is why playoffs are so fun. Like, well, I mean, like there's a whole bunch of questions, right? You know, Tanner Pearson hasn't played in the series yet. He was a really good player for them all season long. Stanley Cup champion. He's fresh now because he hasn't played in the series. Do you insert him and see if you get a pop from him? Barbashev and Howden have kind of flipped back and forth a little bit on the left wing, where Barbashev has mostly played with Stone and Eichel, but he's also looked really good on the fourth line with Waugh and Kolasar, and Howden has 2 goals in the series. So
Howden had 23 this year. I couldn't believe it when I saw that.
Yeah, well, your Rangers didn't love him, right? They let him go.
No, I know.
When Kelly McCrimmon traded for him, I was kind of like, I said to Kelly, I said, why are you trading for Brett Howden? He said, I'm betting on the person, and Brett has been steadily getting better and better and better, and now he's signed a 6-year extension with the Golden Knights. It's a great story.
Yeah, it is awesome. My last thing I was just gonna say, though, because you were talking about Adin Hill, everyone that listens to our show knows that everything that I say, the opposite usually happens. And I tweeted the other night after Adin Hill made that crazy sequence of like 2 saves in the first period. I forgot who the glove save was on, but I tweeted right after I saw that, because it was an 11 o'clock start time for us back east, and I was like, wow, Adin Hill is going to be the reason why I stay up till 2 a.m. tonight. And then sure as shit, 2 minutes later, he lets in 3 goals. So tell him I'm sorry. And that's just the way it goes with my luck. But
the Johnny Jinx, the Johnny Jinx is always strong, and be nervous when Johnny picks your team to win. That's always something everybody who follows our show knows. So Gary, appreciate you coming on today. And look, I picked Vegas to win this series, and I know a lot of people did. And I think this series has the potential to go deep and to become real, to be really entertaining, and hopefully we get that here for another number of games.
Now, I'm certainly not ready to stop talking and watching hockey, so let's hope it goes deep.
Yeah,
and you guys do an awesome job.
Thank you, Gary. Give Dan my best, Gary. Give him my best. He's a good man, and he does a great job. You guys do a great job together on the radio. Yep.
I'm surprised that it's Dan Duva that gets your love and not Dave Gosher with the BU hat on.
Well, Ghosh is the man. I mean, I listen, I love Ghosh too, but I've actually got to do games with Ghosh before in the playoffs. We've done some radio together. So Ghosh is the man, BU Bruins, he's got the whole thing. And then you guys got Shane Knighty with you guys as well. So it's you got the whole Boston, broadcast team going out there out west, and you got Bruce out there too. So it's like a big reunion out there in the desert.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's a ton of people with Manitoba roots in the organization, and then there's a bunch of there's a Boston thread in the organization. It's been really fun to work in Vegas. They hired I'll tip my cap to George McPhee and Kelly McCrimmon and Kerry Buboltz and Eric Tosi. They hired
he's another Bruins guy. Toast. I was in Boston with Toast too.
Yeah. They hired good people. They present company excluded. They looked for one of the phrases that they used when they were putting the organization together was, we're looking for the best human talent available in all aspects. And Gosher and Knighty are as good as they come in terms of a broadcast pairing. It's a national broadcast. Ashley Weiss is she's really grown, and now she's getting a lot of work from Turner as well. So she had to fly out to do some game in Dallas. Shane flew out this morning to do he's doing the Devils Hurricane game tonight, coming back for our game, then going back for their game on Sunday. So that tells you a lot about the quality of the people. Darren Millard, our host, was Hockey Night in Canada guy up in Canada, and I think Dan Duva is I think he's the best on radio in the NHL for sure, and a rising star. He's going to be on your TV screen somewhere someday soon. Yeah.
And the most important thing is that the whole broadcast crew is a good hang. That's where I met Gary for the first time at
we do have a pretty good family atmosphere with the group, and that makes the job so fun. Like we got here on it's Friday now, right? We got here Wednesday night, and we're staying at the St. Paul Inn in downtown St. Paul, right across from Excel. And if you haven't been here, like the lobby bar, the St. Paul Grill, is one of those classic dark American lobby bars. And we walked in, and Eddie Olczyk and John Forsland were finishing their dinner. Jody Shelley showed up a little while later on, and the two broadcasting crews that were doing the game, the national and the Vegas crew, we just hung out there for till closing time. They turned the lights on. That's how they got rid of us. It wasn't like 2 a.m. It was 11 o'clock, but that's how
I was gonna say, no way Edzo is out past 11 o'clock. No way. That's his max.
No, he was he really enjoys making fun of me. So the opportunity to have me sitting right beside him and with an audience, you couldn't turn that down. I did a podcast with him yesterday. We do a daily podcast in the playoffs, and it appears it'll be published on Saturday, and it's just it's 13 and a half minutes of Edzo skewering me. So
what's it called? What's it called? So we can look it up.
It's called VGK Today, and I bet we got to make sure that I got that right. We have so many content opportunities, but it's like a little mini roast. Yeah, VGK Today. Today's version is Dave Gosher and Shane Knighty. They did something after the game last night, but Saturdays is Edzo and myself, and I'm kicking myself because he mentioned the Kentucky Derby during the taping, and I didn't ask him for a pick at the end of it. I'll get a pick from him, but I mean for the podcast,
for the podcast,
yeah. I'll get a pick from him and I'll tweet it. There you go.
Nobody knows the ponies like Edzo does. So make sure you check out VGK today.
Yes.
And if you don't get today's episode, make sure you get the one this weekend that'll have Edzo skewering our friend Gary Lawless. So we'll be sure to check that out, Gary. We appreciate you putting that on our radar, and great to hear from you today. And hopefully we'll have an opportunity in the second or the third round to reconnect with you if Vegas can get back into this series and get back ahead.
Nice to spend some time with you, Colby. Johnny, I love you. I'll
love you too.
Gonna work on you. What time is it where you are?
I'm actually, it's 9:08 for me right now. I'm in Austin, Texas right now. I'm not in my normal home.
You still haven't combed your hair yet. Like, what's going on there?
I did my hair this morning.
Colby, come on.
I usually have a hat on.
You can't help this guy, Gary. Don't try. I've been trying for years.
And he's so good looking. He's so good looking that he doesn't have to care about it.
You can't help him.
It's a little annoying, actually.
Well, I appreciate that, Gary. Thank you.
Can't help this guy. He's unhelpable. So you just have to deal with the lumps with him. So
everyone's chirping me. They think I'm in a garage right now. I guess
that's what it looks like. You're in a storage unit in Austin, Texas.
Gary, I'm doing the show from a bachelor party in Austin.
Not bad.
Down here. Yeah, it's a nice little pad.
But there's a bunch of empty waters on the table. Where's like the fifth of Jack and the
I didn't show that part.
Oh, okay.
It's only Budweiser. We're a Budweiser show, Gary. So it's only Budweiser products. All right.
Tonight, if you're in Austin, go to the Sand Jack. It's
the Sand Jack.
It's a live music venue. I love Austin.
Okay.
Austin is what Nashville was 20 years ago before it became bridal showers or whatever the hell goes on there now.
Bachelor parties and bachelorettes.
Yeah. There's still obviously great music in Nashville, but I find there are more of the grinders are in the guy that, people that are there to play music and work on their craft. I find they're in Austin. So have fun. Great place.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, no, I love this city. Love it here. But yeah, thank you again for your time this morning. You're the best. And we'd love to have you back on if Vegas can get out of the first round, which we think they will.
All right. See you guys.
All right.
See you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Awesome guy, right? Like you can just talk to him forever. And yeah, I'm seeing all the, I wanted to show the camera because like I understand what is behind me. People have been chirping me the whole show. But Colby, we still have to talk about St. Louis a little bit with Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, listen, we did talk about that game a little bit. I don't think we expected to go that long, but
the play with Cole Perfetti and the goal review.
I know that's a shame because that looks like a good goal, but you can't tell. Like it's obviously not.
The puck is behind the post.
I know, but it's what was called on the ice, which is no goal, and then you have to have inconclusive evidence, and obviously they didn't feel like it was. Sorry, you have to have conclusive evidence, not inconclusive. I misspoke there, but
I still thought that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, but look. St. Louis deserved to win that hockey game. They skated. They were more physical. Their forecheck was just, as good as you could be on a forecheck. I mean, yeah, like the puck's in the net.
Well,
but
the better angle is like the in-net cam. It literally shows Binnington's glove with the puck fully behind the post, touching the net. And I was rooting for St. Louis. And
I just can't believe that we don't have the technology now to know. I mean, it's a little bit crazy that tennis has shot spot technology and they don't have it here. The other goal that I thought really stood out to me was the Torpachenko goal where
the forecheck on Luke Shen.
Faksa just bullies over Shen, and just Neighbors makes such a good play off the puck here. Once he gets this backhand play by Faksa. But I mean, that right there is in a nutshell why St. Louis won that hockey game. I mean, that demonstrates everything that they did better in that game. They won board battles, they forechecked harder, they skated harder. They stayed above the puck more. It was a dominating performance for the St. Louis Blues.
It was 2-0 Blues before the Winnipeg Jets even got into the offensive zone.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was quick work on that game. So, all right, Johnny, listen, let's go to Bet365. We gotta do our Ninja Crispy hot take too. So let's go to Ninja Crispy here, and then we'll keep moving along.
Okay, so people have been chirping me for my Ninja Crispy hot take, saying they're not hot takey enough. So today it's time now for the Crispy Hot Take presented by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer.
Meet the first of its kind, the Ninja Crispy portable cooking system. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand, so you can cook big or small batches. Just prep it, crisp it, serve it, and store it all in one.
It's an all-in-one system that includes a 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass container and 2 storage lids. The Ninja Crispy is thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-size air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. You can cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container with max crisp, bake, air fry, and recrisp. With the Ninja Crispy, you can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. So visit their website in the link in the description and stay tuned for a chance to win a free Ninja Crispy for one of our lucky fans. And today, the last Ninja Crispy hot take that we are going with for the week. And no Neil Simmons. It's not that Ottawa will force a Game 7 because I don't think that'll happen. But it's that the Brandon Hagel hit will change the entire course of that series, and the Tampa Bay Lightning will claw back from down 2-0 going on the road and win against the Florida Panthers. Because listen, we don't know the status on Sasha Barkov yet, but if Barkov is out and Hagel somehow is not suspended, that is a massive, massive loss for the Panthers, and it could change the entire outcome of the series.
Yeah, that would be a hot take because they do not look like a team that's gonna win a series against the Florida Panthers. And for the record, I don't think we believe that
That's
Hagel's.
what hot takes are. Apparently, it's
Yeah,
something
we
that
we don't believe that Hagel's actually going to get suspended. I think we both agreed on the fact that we don't see that happening. We hated the hit. We thought it was a dirtbag hit, but it's not. I don't think it's suspendable as a hit, especially come playoff time. So. All right, we'll see how that plays out. You never really want to count Tampa out, but it certainly doesn't look look very good right now.
And I think there was no update last night. Paul Maurice was asked about Barkov, and he had nothing. I haven't seen anything on Twitter this morning that indicates that Barkov is good. Also, I think there was a follow-up to Darren Drager's report, and it was just that Senators were like firing pucks at Stolarz in warm-up. That's what it seems to be. I don't think there's anything there. But that's what Darren Drager said. Sources indicates this is the incident in question, sends player firing pucks at Stolarz in warm-up.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'd say
there's much you can do there.
Kind of enough. That's kind of nothing there. All right. Why don't we do 365 and then we'll finish the show after 365 with I'll ask you for some predictions on the games tonight.
All right. I think we may have hit almost every bet this week, by the way. So let's get into
you're on a little heater right now.
Yeah, I think we might be. So let's get into tonight's Bet365 bet of the night. So you want to get in on the action for Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365. They've got you from game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, and the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You must be 19 or older. And tonight, similar to last night, we took the Leafs money line on the road up 2-0 in the series. We are taking the Washington Capitals on the money line at the Bell Center. Obviously,
you are taking.
I am. I guess at the Bell Center. Obviously, going to be a crazy atmosphere with the Montreal Canadiens fans, but I still think this is a young and immature team going up against a older, veteran, more experienced Capitals team that won't shy away from the Bell Center atmosphere that we will see. Also, Vic and I were laughing about it this morning. The stuff, I think we talked about it the other day, but Slavkovsky's post-game fighting tears was pretty insane, honestly. But yeah, I like the Capitals on the money line tonight, so looking to stay hot going into the weekend, and that is that.
Okay, so moving into tonight, into some predictions here. You like the Capitals in that game. I think the Canadiens get their first win of the playoffs tonight. I think that series gets to 2-1 after tonight's game. So we're split on that. The other two series, I'll go first. I think Carolina wins.
Okay.
And I think the Kings win. I think both those series go to 3-love. But I do believe the Canadiens get themselves a game.
So I actually think the Devils find a way to win tonight. Just because Carolina home versus away in playoffs historically has been two completely different teams. And the Devils, I thought, played a really good game in game 2 and should be able to feed off that despite being dejected that they couldn't come away with the win. So I think the Devils find a way to win, but I also agree with you that the Kings win on the road tonight. I have no faith in Edmonton at all with their decor right now and the way that they handle the puck.
It's not even just their decor. It's just I have no faith in the way
that
power
play goals either.
Team defense, they're just mismanaging the puck. They look like they're playing preseason hockey, and it's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
I like the Kings, the Canadiens, and the Canes, and you like the Caps, the Devils, and the Kings. So we're one off on each other. Okay. All right. Well,
sounds like Jeremiah actually just sent us Nick Kyprios's tweet. Sounds like the NHL will schedule a phone hearing for Brandon Hagel on Friday once they can determine a time. Tampa and the Panthers play game 3 on Saturday at 1 p.m.
Okay,
Thanks,
so there's
Jeremiah,
a hearing, which means that leads me to believe he'll get a game.
Yeah.
Which again, I got no problem with. You guys heard what I said about this hit, and I did see people coming back into the chat later on and saying, well, Florida's a dirty team. How can you not like this? Like these things, like you're that's not a valid argument. Oh, Florida's dirty, so it's fine what Hagel did. Like that doesn't compute in my opinion. So
no, I agree with you.
We'll have to ask Vic after the show how the audience was today as far as our numbers are concerned.
Yeah, exactly. And when I'm Marine though, Barkov isn't dirty. You know.
I wasn't looking to see how our YouTube and our Twitter numbers were today. So hopefully the crowd showed up for our first Friday show. And you know, we'll continue to do these for the next, I guess, May and June. You know, so we'll do about, I guess it'll be 4 or 5, 6, about 7 Friday shows, maybe 8 Friday shows, depending on. We'll go from there. So I wanted to say this too. We did get up over 27,000 yesterday in subscriptions on the Daily Faceoff YouTube page. So for those of you that you know heard me talk about it yesterday, and then you hit that subscribe button, we appreciate it. Make sure. Honestly, New York Marine, I'm reading your comment in the chat right now. The face of Colby realizing he has to do 8 extra days of Jonny.
You should have saw before the show started.
When we got on the show this morning, I was not sure I could do it with him, and he was being so annoying. And like I'm telling you, how old are you? You're 28?
29.
Jonny is 29, and he likes to be annoying. Like
just to you.
When you're 2 years old, it's like, okay, like you don't know any better. For him, he likes it. Like he thinks it's funny. And then he giggles at himself. And like, I seriously want to put my hands around his throat. So you completely read me correctly there, New York Marine, as you usually do.
We should let New York Marine come in like at like 8:30 when we like really start getting into the show.
No, nobody gets to see. Nobody gets to see.
29 living in his mom's storage unit.
So we are grateful for you guys. Thanks for coming today for our Friday show. You guys are great. You're also screwing us because now the network's going to want us to do Fridays. So we're going to have to keep fighting them on that. But anyways, give us a like on this episode. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. The sheet is at 1 p.m. again today in Ottawa. So that is a little programming note. Tyler and Frank at noon for Daily Faceoff Live. I'm sure they're going to continue to talk about the Hagel hit. Frank might even have more information that we don't, which will be good. And then you kind of have to wonder, like, if Barkov is out, who comes into the lineup? You know, is it Greer? Is it Gadovich? Like, they have some options in the bottom of their lineup, some guys who play pretty heavy, actually. So that series could get ugly pretty quickly. So with that, Jonny, go have fun on your bachelor party. Don't be creepy. And I have an exclusive person that I'm with. I won't be creepy. Okay, that's right. I forgot about that. So. Yeah. We hope everybody has a great weekend. I love the staggered starts. I think 1, 3, 5, 8 or something this weekend. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, great staggered starts. So we love that. No crossovers. Oh yeah, Pulley RV is also in Florida. That's another option. I forgot about that. Well, he got suspended for the hit on Chafee, but I guess that's over by now. Ekblad is coming back. Yeah, that is over. Ekblad comes back into the series, so this is going to get. This series hopefully will get a little bit more entertaining. So like this episode on your way out the door, leave comments. If you're not here with us live, leave them on the YouTube video. We do see those. We do laugh at those. Like some of them are really funny. But you know, even the hateful ones, they're funny. So keep them coming. We absolutely are entertained by that for 24, 48, 72 hours after the show, especially on a weekend. Yeah. So keep all that stuff coming because that keeps fueling the show. Have a good weekend, everybody. Be safe. Enjoy playoff hockey. We'll see everybody 9 a.m. on Monday.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.